My sister overheard my wife bragging about her affair. I'm 39 years old, and last month my sister sent me a text that destroyed my entire world. It said we needed to talk about my wife. What she told me over lunch pissed me off. My wife had been standing in the grocery store, bragging to her affair partner about how stupid I was, how easy I was to fool, and how she was planning to keep using me for at least another year while she screwed around behind my back. My sister heard every single word from the next aisle over. But here's what really pisses me off. I had given this woman everything, paid all her bills, supported her for 5 years, and I trusted her without questioning anything. And the whole time, she was laughing at me. My wife is 37, works at a shoe store in Marietta, Georgia, making maybe $32,000 a year. I'm a manufacturing supervisor at a plant in Cobb County, pulling in $78,000. We'd been married for 5 years. No kids, thank God. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in Kennesaw with $1,400 in rent. When we were dating, she was always struggling with money. Credit cards maxed out, car payment late, electric bill getting shut off. I helped her out because that's what you do when you care about someone, right? Wrong. Turns out I was just her personal ATM. I even co-signed on her Toyota Camry when her credit was too shot to get approved a loan. That car loan was in both our names, which meant I was paying half of it every month. After we got married, I paid for everything. The $1,400 rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, all of it. She kicked in maybe $600 a month total. I never complained because I thought we were building a future together. What an idiot I was. We had full access to each other's phones. No passwords, no secrets. Well, that's what I thought. I could pick up her phone anytime. She would text me from work, send pictures of shoes, complain about customers. Everything seemed completely normal. That's what made this whole thing so much worse. She was that good at lying. So, I'm at work dealing with some production issue when my phone buzzes. It was my sister. The text said we needed to talk about my wife and that I should call her when I was alone. Don't really know why she said it like that, but I was nervous after that. My sister doesn't do drama. She doesn't send messages like that unless something's seriously wrong. I stepped outside and called her immediately. She wouldn't tell me over the phone, said we needed to meet for lunch and that I needed to hear this in person. She told me to trust her. Those next few days waiting to meet her were absolute torture. I kept looking at my wife, searching for signs that something was wrong. Nothing. She came home from work, kissed me, and asked about my day, acting like the perfect wife while I was losing my mind. We met at this diner, and my sister looked like she hadn't slept in days. She didn't even wait for the coffee to arrive before she started talking. She told me she'd been at the Kroger on Barrett Parkway in Kennesaw in the cereal aisle when she heard a voice from the next aisle over that sounded familiar. Then she realized it was my wife. My wife was talking to someone, some guy apparently. My sister thought at first maybe she was just running into an acquaintance or something. But then she heard her laugh. Like a seductive laugh, she immediately thought she was talking to me. But she kept listening. My sister pulled out her phone and showed me her notes. She'd written down everything immediately after. My wife had been bragging about how easy it was to pull this off. She literally said I had no idea, that I thought she was at work or running errands when she was actually with him. Then she laughed like it was the funniest thing in the world. The guy asked what would happen if I found out, and my wife told him I wouldn't because she didn't make any mistakes and didn't even check her phone. Every word was like a knife. Then my sister told me the part that made her want to march around that aisle and confront my wife right there. My wife said that I paid all the bills and she wasn't giving that up until she was ready. I asked my sister if she was serious. She said she was dead serious and that there was more. My wife had told this guy that she deletes all their messages right after they talk. She had a whole routine. She'd text him from the back room at work during breaks, then delete everything before she clocked out. That's why I never saw anything. I just sat there, completely numb. 5 years of marriage, and I never suspected a thing. I asked my sister if she saw who the guy was. She said she tried to peek around without being obvious, but they were already heading to checkout. She saw his back. Tall guy, dark hair, black jacket. She didn't get his face and apologized. I told her not to apologize. She just saved me from wasting more years with a liar. That night, I couldn't even look at my wife. She came home talking about some sale at the store, completely oblivious. I gave her short answers, said I was tired. She bought it. After she went to bed, I stayed up researching. I decided I needed a little bit more proof. This bitch wasn't going to continue to make me look stupid. I ordered a GPS tracker and a voice-activated recorder online with expedited shipping. When the devices arrived, I waited until she was getting ready to go to work one morning. Then I went out to the Toyota Camry I was still paying for and stuck the GPS tracker inside the rear bumper. Since my name was on the title as co-owner, I had every legal right to know where that car was going. The voice recorder went under the driver's seat, wedged between the seat track and carpet, where she'd never find it. Here's the genius part. I gave my sister access to the GPS tracking app. She's a stay-at-home mom with flexible time. If something happened during the day while I was stuck at work, she could monitor it and alert me. The first few days, nothing unusual. Her car went from our apartment to the shoe store and back. I started wondering if maybe they ended things or if my sister had somehow misunderstood. Then everything exploded. About a week after installing the tracker, my sister called me at work, mid-afternoon. She told me my wife's car had just left the store and wasn't heading home. She was going the opposite direction. I asked where she was going. My sister said she was watching the tracker and that my wife had just turned off Cobb Parkway onto Old 41 Highway, heading toward the abandoned textile mills. There was nothing out there but old industrial buildings. I asked if she could get over there. She said she was already in her car and had dropped her 2 kids at her mother-in-law's. She would be there in 10 minutes. I told her to be careful and not let my wife see her. 30 minutes later, my sister called back. I was outside the plant, pacing like a caged animal. She told me she got photos. I asked what she saw. She said there was an abandoned parking lot behind an old textile warehouse. My wife's car was in the back corner with a silver SUV parked right next to it. My sister had parked behind some bushes about 50 yards away. Then she told me they were in his truck. She'd zoomed in with her phone camera. They were all over each other. She got multiple clear shots before she left and was sending them to me right then. My phone started buzzing. I opened the messages and there it was. My wife in the passenger seat of that truck, kissing some guy, his hand on her face. Another photo showed them in an even more compromising position. Timestamp 3:33 p.m. She was supposed to be at work until 6. I wanted to put my fist through a wall. That night, after she came home acting like nothing happened, I waited until she was in the shower. Then I grabbed the voice recorder from her car and took it to my truck. I sat there in the dark parking lot with headphones on, listening. Most of it was boring. Her singing to the radio, talking to herself. Then I heard it. 2 voices. She had someone in the car with her, a man's voice. He called her beautiful and asked if she was still coming over later. She told him, yeah, that she told me she had to work late for inventory. Then she said I believed it, like always. This wasn't new. This had been going on for a while. He asked when she was going to leave me. She said she didn't know because it was complicated. I paid for everything, her car payment, the rent, all of it. She needed to figure out her finances first. I couldn't even think straight. I was so mad. He said he could help her out. She told him he was sweet, but that he was barely making ends meet himself. She said no offense. He said none taken and asked what the plan was. She said she was thinking maybe another year. She'd save up some money, then tell me she was unhappy and wanted a divorce. By then she'd have enough saved to get her own place. Another year. She was planning to use me for another year while screwing this guy. He said a whole year and that he didn't know if he could wait that long. She told him he'd wait if he wanted to keep seeing her. Besides, it wasn't like they didn't get plenty of time together. I worked long hours and she could always make excuses. I ripped the headphones off. I'd heard enough. The next morning, I called in sick to work for the first time in years. I made an appointment with the divorce attorney in Marietta for that afternoon. I walked into her office with my phone full of evidence, photos, audio recordings, GPS data showing my wife's car at that abandoned parking lot multiple times. The attorney was a no-nonsense woman in her 50s. She reviewed everything and asked if I had children. I told her no, thank God. She said that simplified things considerably and asked about property. I told her we rented an apartment in Kennesaw, no house. The only shared asset was the Toyota Camry we co-owned, but I'd been making the payments. She said this was about as clean as a divorce gets in Georgia. With this evidence, I had solid grounds for an at-fault divorce based on adultery under Georgia law. I asked how long it would take. She said 4 to 6 months from filing to final decree, assuming my wife didn't contest it. With photographic evidence this strong, she doubted my wife would fight the adultery claim. She also explained that under Georgia law, because the adultery caused the separation, my wife would be barred from receiving any alimony. That was the best news I'd heard all week. I told her, let's do it. I hired her on the spot. Best decision I made through this whole nightmare. The attorney had the divorce complaint prepared within 3 days. She filed it with the Cobb County Superior Court that Friday. Under Georgia law, we had to wait for the complaint to be officially filed before we could serve her. The following week, we had everything ready. I had my wife served at work, at the shoe store, during a busy afternoon. Some people might think that's harsh, but my thought process was, fuck her. She was cheating on me. She deserved to be humiliated. The process server walked in while she was helping a customer and handed her the divorce papers right there on the sales floor. My attorney told me later that she read them, set them on the counter, and went back to work. No tears, no reaction, nothing. I was at work when it happened, expecting my phone to blow up with angry calls and texts. Nothing came. Radio silence. When I got home that evening, her car was in the parking lot. I sat in my truck for a few minutes, preparing myself for whatever was about to happen. I walked in. She was in the bedroom packing a suitcase. She asked me, how long have I known? I simply told her it didn't matter. She zipped the suitcase and grabbed her purse, told me she'd get the rest of her stuff later. I said fine. She walked toward the door, then stopped, told me that for what it was worth, she didn't plan for this to happen. I just told her to get lost. Then I told her, for months, I paid her bills and thought we had a future. She didn't respond, just opened the door and left. That was it. No big confrontation, no begging, no explanation. She just walked out like our 5-year marriage meant nothing. The divorce process was weirdly anticlimactic. She hired an attorney but didn't fight anything. She filed her answer and waiver, which meant she acknowledged the complaint but didn't contest the grounds. She didn't dispute the adultery claim. She didn't ask for alimony, probably because her attorney told her Georgia law would bar it anyway, given the evidence. She didn't try to take any of my savings. We had one court hearing where we both had to appear. It was in the Cobb County Superior Court in Marietta. We sat on opposite sides of the courtroom. She cut her hair short, was wearing more makeup than usual. She didn't look at me once. The judge reviewed the evidence, the GPS data, the photographs my sister had taken, the audio recording, the timeline. He asked if there was any possibility of reconciliation. Both our attorneys said no. The judge granted the divorce on the grounds of adultery. Under Georgia law, section 19-5-3, she got her personal stuff and her car. I kept everything else. We split the joint checking account, about $800 each. When the judge asked her if she had anything to say, she just said no, and that she just wanted what was rightfully hers and nothing more. What's rightfully hers? The audacity. The judge signed the papers. 5 years of marriage over in 20 minutes. We left through different exits. I never saw her again after that. The months after were rough. I'm not going to lie. Empty apartment, eating dinner alone, going to bed alone. It was depressing as hell, but slowly, things improved. I started hitting the gym again, got back into my old hobbies, bowling and playing Madden on occasion. I started saving serious money since I wasn't supporting two people anymore. My sister checked on me constantly. She felt guilty, like maybe she should have handled things differently. I kept telling her she saved me from wasting more years with someone who was just using me. I didn't change my phone number or anything. She doesn't get to dictate how I handle communications with her. About a year after the divorce was finalized, something bizarre happened. I was at work when my phone rang from an unknown number. I didn't answer because I never answer unknown numbers. They left a voicemail. Later that night, I saw the notification. The voicemail was 4 minutes long. I almost deleted it without listening, but curiosity got the better of me. I played the first few seconds. It was her voice. I immediately stopped it and deleted it. Didn't listen to a single word beyond recognizing her voice. Some people might think that's cold. They might say I should have at least listened, given her a chance to say her piece. But here's the thing. She had 5 years to be honest with me. She had countless chances to tell me she was unhappy, that she wanted something different, that our marriage wasn't working for her. Instead, she chose to lie. She chose to cheat. She chose to use me while planning her exit strategy. She made her choices. Now she has to live with them. This is going to sound harsh, but she's dead to me now. That woman broke my heart in a way I didn't think was possible. I gave her everything, my trust, my support, my love. I helped her financially when she was struggling. Never asked for anything in return except loyalty and honesty. She couldn't even give me that. A year after the divorce, I still can't forgive her. I don't know if I ever will. People talk about forgiveness like it's something you owe to people who hurt you, like it's necessary for moving on. But I don't buy that. I've moved on just fine without forgiving her. I'm not angry anymore. Not that burning rage from when I first found out. That's faded into something colder, more permanent. She's just nothing to me now. Sometimes I wonder about the guy she was cheating with. Did they end up together? Did he eventually figure out what kind of person she really is? I hope he did. I hope he got to experience the same betrayal I did, so he would understand what he helped her do to me. But mostly, I don't think about either of them. I've got my own life to live. If there's anything I learned from this whole mess, it's that you can't really know someone. You can live with them, sleep next to them every night, share your life with them, and still have no idea what they're capable of. Some people can work through infidelity, go to counseling, rebuild their relationship. I respect that, but I could never do it. The moment I saw those photos my sister took, something inside me just shut off. The love I had for my wife disappeared, like it had never existed. Another thing I learned, always keep your finances separate to some degree. I'm grateful now that I had my own savings account she couldn't access. If everything had been joint, the divorce would have been a lot messier. She could have drained our accounts out of spite or desperation. And maybe the biggest lesson, trust your gut people. Looking back, there were small things that didn't quite add up. Times when she said she was working late, but came home without any shopping bags from the mall where her store was located. Nights when she was on her phone more than usual, then quickly putting it down when I walked into the room. I ignored those little red flags because I wanted to believe everything was fine. I won't make that mistake again. It's been over a year and a half since the divorce was finalized. I'm 40 now, and honestly, I'm doing okay. I got a promotion, making a little bit more money. I'm now a senior manufacturing supervisor. I moved out of that apartment we shared and got a small house in Ackworth. Just a 3-bedroom place with a garage and a small yard. It's mine though. Every piece of furniture, every dish in the cabinet, every decision about paint colors and landscaping, all mine. Right now, I am holding off from dating. I want to try the dating apps, but I keep hearing they are a joke for men. My sister and I are closer than ever. She still feels guilty about the whole thing. Even though I've told her 1,000 times, she has nothing to feel guilty about. I'll always be grateful for that. I still see my ex occasionally. This isn't a huge city, and we have some mutual acquaintances. We don't speak. If we end up at the same gathering, we just avoid each other. It's easier that way. From what I have heard, she's still with the guy she was cheating with. They moved in together a few months after our divorce. Part of me wonders if she's doing the same thing to him, using him while keeping her options open. But that's not my problem anymore. People ask me sometimes if I regret getting married. I don't. I regret marrying the wrong person, but I don't regret trying. I wanted to build a life with someone, to have a partner. That's not a bad thing to want. What I do regret is ignoring my instincts. There were moments during our marriage when things felt off, but I pushed those feelings aside. I should have paid more attention. I also regret all the money I spent supporting her. Not because I want it back, that money's gone and I've made peace with that, but because it represented something. Every bill I paid, every time I helped her out financially, I thought I was investing in our future together. Turns out I was just funding her double life, but I'm not bitter. Bitter would mean she still has power over me, and she doesn't. I've taken back control of my life. I decide who I trust, who I let close to me, how I spend my time and money. The voicemail she left, I still don't know what she said, and I never will. Maybe she was apologizing. Maybe she was trying to explain. Maybe she wanted to tell me she made a mistake and wanted me back. It doesn't matter. Whatever she had to say, it's too late. She doesn't get to demand my attention now, just because she finally feels like talking. TLDR, my sister overheard my wife bragging about her affair at the grocery store, and it set off a chain of events that end my marriage. In some ways, I'm grateful it happened when it did. We didn't have kids. We didn't own property together. The divorce was relatively clean and quick. If my sister hadn't overheard that conversation, how much longer would it have gone on? My wife said she was planning to keep up the charade for another year at least. That's another year of my life I would have wasted. Another year of being lied to, used, and disrespected. Instead, I found out the truth. It hurt like hell, but at least I knew, and knowing meant I could do something about it. I'm not the same person I was before all this happened. I'm more cautious now, more guarded, but I'm also stronger. I survived something I didn't think I could survive. I picked up the pieces of my life and put them back together in a way that works for me. I'm not waiting for someone else to make me happy or complete me. I'm building a life I'm proud of on my own terms, and if the right person comes along someday, someone who values honesty and loyalty the way I do, then maybe I'll take that risk again. But I'm not holding my breath. I'm perfectly fine on my own. As for my ex-wife, I genuinely hope she figures out whatever she needs to figure out. I hope she learns from her mistakes and becomes a better person. But that's her journey, not mine. I've got my own path to walk, and I'm walking it with my head held high, knowing I did everything I could to make that marriage work. The failure wasn't mine, it was hers. She's the one who has to live with what she did. She's the one who threw away a good thing for something that probably won't last. Me, I'm free. Free from the lies, free from the betrayal, free from someone who never appreciated what she had. And honestly, that's the best damn outcome I could have hoped for.